So, good evening. Um, I will start from the beginning, from the very beginning of my editing workflow. When I'm editing in Photoshop and Lightroom, I'm editing with three uh, stages, like three parts. The first part is in Lightroom, which I'm neutralizing the photo. I'm making the photo more clean and more without distraction, and I'm filtering colors that are unnecessary. I'm cleaning a little bit the ISO if needed. I'm doing all of these kind of things like highlight, shadow, white balance if needed. This is the first part, and I do it in Lightroom. It's similar to the camera raw, but I prefer to do it in Lightroom. The second part is on Photoshop. In Photoshop, I'm doing like all the big fixes, like removing the distraction. Um, Destructive objects in the photo, like if there are cars on the background, people on the background, leash, color, garbage on the floor, or whatever, or if I need to add some more to the frame of the photo, if it's too narrow, if I want a little bit more um, foreground or a little bit more headroom. So and this is one thing I'm doing in Photoshop, and one more thing is a little bit retouching in the colors, which the Lightroom can't remove colors like 100%. It can do it like 90%. So sometimes there are colors that I want to remove completely from the photo, and then I'm also doing it using in the Photoshop. Um, and one last thing I'm doing in Photoshop is the backlight, the radial gradient. After finishing with the Photoshop, I'm saving the photo and it goes back to Lightroom. And then I'm doing in Lightroom like the mastering part where I can do all the things that makes the photo look more alive, like more clarity, more contrast, more vibrance. So I will do it like step by step with this photo, which is very simple photo with not much AI work on it. So you can see my workflow. I will explain like uh, part by part and step by step, and I will try to do it slow as much as I can, so you can use it and watch it like many times, and it will help you um, through all steps of the editing. So, first thing first is just like when I opening a new photo, I'm try to see if I need to crop overlay, if I need to straighten the photo, maybe crop something. Like this photo, I don't need to do anything. So and also like the highlights are very nice. I don't want to reduce them, and the shadows are nice as well. So I'm not touching it. So what I do want to do in this photo is start with masking. First one is I want to select the subject, but I won't go on select subject because usually the Lightroom not handling well with that. So I'm starting with select object, and I'm selecting the square, not the brush, the square, and I'm painting like I'm marking like a big square around the subject. And then I have the subject like it selected very nice. I'm taking brush, subtract brush, just to make some small fixes here, just on the part that they are not the model. And also I'm adding like, no, that's fine. So I stay with that, and once I have the subject, I'm raising up a little bit the clarity. I'm adding clarity. If it's a bright dog, up to 20, 25. If it's a dark dog, like a black dog, like a German Shepherd or a black Labrador, so I can take it even to 50, the clarity. The brighter the dog, the less clarity you had. So I add here just 20, no, 30 is good. It makes the dog look more sharp. And just a little bit opening the shadow, just a bit, not too much. And then the dog looks fine. And I'm going to invert the mask. Like I'm pressing here the three dots, duplicate and invert mask. And then I have like a mask of the opposite of the background. And I'm also here go on subtract brush. I want to reduce it to remove it from the leg of the model, maybe a little bit here on the background so it won't look like very halo-y. And then I can do like three steps depending on the photo. In this photo, I will reduce just a little bit. You see, just minus 0.20 the exposure, the clarity up to minus 10, not more than that. And I like to go on the curve. And on the first one, I'm painting like an S curve. 1 point here, 1 point here, and 1 point there. And I'm raising, making like this kind of curve, which make the background look more matte. You can see that the background is more soft like that. Okay. And I can also adjust a little bit to reducing black so it makes it even more soft. Next part after I do the mask, I finished working with the masks, with the subject and the background. So next step, I'm going to the colors palette here, and I'm trying to think which colors are unnecessary in this photo. Like there are many colors in the photo that are not really exist in the scene that I photographed, but they do exist in the photo because they are like chromatic aberration or just distortion of the lens. So if I have like orange dog on this kind of background, so like it's not make any sense to have wait just yeah it doesn't make any sense to have like magentas, so I'm reducing the magenta uh, completely to the left side. I'm removing all saturation, same as purple a little bit. I can take just a little bit of the blue but not all the way because I like the blue tones in the photo. The aqua, I can remove it, and same with the green, but I also take the green to the yellow part, to the yellow side, because when you removing saturation of one of the colors, it's still there. So just give him the right hue, the right tint, the right tint on the way you like it. Like not like this. Look here on the face of the dog. Here it's when it's on the aqua side, and here on the yellow side it looks uh, more normal. So once I fix the colors, I go to the last part, which is the denoise, uh, the detail. So once I use like ISO, it's not too high. I can do like only uh, adding some luminance to 20 up to 30, not more than that. That makes the photo a little bit flat. So in order to fix that, I'm adding a mount between 60 to 70. Uh, and usually that's enough. You don't need to touch the radios, the details. If you touch them, you can start doing things that it will be very hard to fix later. So just luminance between 20 to 30 and amount. And if you use like a very high ISO and your photo look very grainy, so in these cases you can use the noise reduction with fix your ISO in the photo powering by AI. So then it will make a new DNG file that is clean without ISO. but I don't use this method that often because it's taking too long and it's not. I don't know. I don't like this the way the results it gives me. So I'm doing like in the old school way, just luminance and the mount. And for me, this photo is neutralized and it's easy to edit later when I bring it back to the Photoshop, to the Lightroom. Sorry. So what I'm doing now is edit in Photoshop, and the photo will go to my Photoshop and will be open there in yeah in a second. Now, first part is just to clean and remove objects and dirt that are not necessary in the photo. For example, like this one, and I will go. There are two ways to do that. One way is to use the lasso tool. If I'm using the lasso tool, I can mark like some area which I don't like and just press here generate without telling you nothing, and it will remove it. In this case, I don't have anything that I want to remove, maybe just this blue reflection. There was a sign in this spot, there was a blue sign, so this is the reflection of the blue sign. I just mark this area and I press generate and it will remove it by itself. Let's see what it gives me. And yeah. Okay, that's a better one. I like the second one. And once you have any new generated fill layer, just press them together. Like you can one and holding the control and with your right click on the second one, or sorry, the left click, and then right click, merge layers, and it became one. Now there is another tool, this one, it calls the remove tool. It's also powered by the AI. It's for small fixes, like for this kind of dirt that you want to fix. So this tool is perfect for that. So you can just give a small click on every dot you don't like, and it just remove it. Okay, but don't try to use that on a bigger spots uh, because it won't work that well. It can make a mess. So if you have a bigger issues to fix, so use the AI, the generative fill. So I'm just doing some small fixes just for the example. You see what happened when I take a big area? It takes longer, and it's not always doing like a very good job. So working with the small spots, it's better for this tool, like here. Okay, so uh, once I finish fixing everything about the photo, I can do like just like remove this black area. I can add a little bit more columns of like this here. But I won't do it now. The only thing I need to do is just to mark this area and to press generate and wait and see what it will give me. But it's just a waste of time. I won't do it now. So I want to jump on the next part, which is duplicating background and selecting subject. The way do it is by the object selection tool, the first one, which is pretty smart, and I can choose just a click and I have the dog like almost perfect. I'm doing some fixes here with the lasso tool. If I want to remove area, I just holding the alt key, and then I'm doing with with the mouse. Um, if I want to add the area, I holding the shift, and then I'm doing like that, and it's adding this area. So, and Control Z to undo the last action. So here I pressing the Alt now. I'm holding my Alt on my keyboard, and I remove this area. So once I have it, I have this layer. I select the dog, selected mask, waiting for a little bit, and then yeah, I can see like the red here. I'm putting the radius around between 50 to 70. The more, the less fur, I can go with lower radius. Like for Malinois, for Labrador, for Sighthounds, I can go like with the radius which is very small. But if I have like a very fluffy dogs like this dog, like Aussies, I can go with the radius up to 70. Uh, I put the smooth on 70 as well. I'm also do refine air. I'm pressing the refine air. Now it's thinking, and it makes the selection more accurate. And then I'm just making sure that output to layer mask. I'm pressing OK, and I have a new background copy. So one thing I want to do is to fix colors on the dog itself, which I see that he has like some tones in his fur. So I'm going to adjustment, hue saturation. Here I can choose colors. I'm choosing the blue, and I can see that when I'm increasing the blue to 100, I see the blues here on his fur, and I don't like it. So I'm just removing it as much as I can to the other side. I'm not taking it to 100 because then it will make the dog look very grayish. And once I have this one, and as well I can do it with the magenta. You can see magenta here. So then I'm reducing magenta. This way of work, step of work is very useful. For example, for white dogs, if you have like a white dog or a black and white dog, which you know that the dog is supposed to be only black and white, like border collie, like Swiss Shepherd. Um, in this case, you just selecting the dog, and you can remove all the colors, the unnecessary colors for the dog, to make him only black and white. Once you did that, you pressing shift, and then you have like these two layers. You are merging them, and then you can see that the colors that we reduced are coming back to the background, but they are only reduced from the dog itself. Next step is to add the backlight. So I'm pressing plus. I have one more layer. I'm putting it beneath the layer of the dog of the model. I'm putting it here. I'm going to radial gradient, and I choose like which gradient I want, like a big circle, a small star, a straight layer. So, oops, sorry. So I'm choosing the one I want. In this case, I will go with the big round, and I'm going a little bit far because I want the middle of the circle to be far on the background. So I'm just putting it here, and you can see that uh, the middle of the circle is like the color on the here. You can see in the properties you have this uh, graph with color which goes from one color to the other. You can change the colors however you like, and you can move this dot from the center to the edge to make it go from white to beige, or from beige to white. Here, pressing here double click, you can go and change the color whatever you like to make it match to the background. You don't want the color to look like very weird, like if you have some green light or blue light in the middle of forest of city, it doesn't make any sense. So you just choose the right color that you think is fit to the photo that you're adding. Like I really like this color now. I think it's very suit to the photo. And usually try to make on the left side a bright color, which make it feels like a source of light. And you can see like with and without. And you also can play a little bit with the opacity to make it more and less visible. Okay, and now once I have it, I'm merging layers again. So what I did so far in Photoshop is to remove destructive objects and dirt from the dog, from the background if needed. Um, I remove unnecessary colors for the dog like blue and magenta. I can also do that on the reflection, but I like to let the reflection be a little bit more colorful since it's affecting by the glass. So it's not the real dog; it's just a reflection of him. So a little bit color on the reflection is okay. The first, the third stage is to add this radial gradient on the background to make the photo look a little bit more soft. And one last touch is to duplicate the background. Once I have like a background copy, I go into filter, blur, Gaussian blur. I'm making sure that the radius is on 120. I press OK. Here on the blending mode, I'm going to soft light. Here, soft light, opacity down to something between 30 to 50, up to taste. And then I'm going here to the eraser tool on the other side. The eraser tool, I'm putting it like in a big circle, so the dog will be inside the photo, inside the circle. I'm making sure like everything is brush, his opacity is 100, the flow is very soft, and I'm just giving like one click here, just a small click here to make it a little bit. I don't want the dog to be blurred as well. So I have like a new layer which makes the photo look a little bit more dreamy. I'm merging layers and I finish with Photoshop. I'm file, save, and in a second you can see here it's saving. The photo will be back to Lightroom. And it will make a TIFF file. TIFF is like it's not a raw file, but it's bigger than a JPEG file. It's like a new file that you can also edit, and it's still flexible. You can see here now I have the basics and the colors like new without any effect from what I did in the first part. So what I'm doing now is to just play with the photo, just trying around things that I like to do. I can add some contrast, maybe a little bit white. Adding white always make the photo look like more in your face, more bright. Clarity a little bit, and vibrance to make the photo more colorful. And here on masks, I start with a brush on the eye of the dog. I can go with three brushes, but in this photo, I will go for two. One for the iris to make it a little bit more open, just a little bit exposure and shadow. And if the eye of the dog is orange eye or yellow eye, I adding some temperature. Always warm temperature goes with purple tint. It always go together. And if you have blue eye, you can only go with the temp. Don't need to touch anything about the tint. Just if you have like a Siberian ASCII with blue eyes, just take the temperature to the other side, to the cold side, and leave the tint like you don't need to touch it. So that was for the iris. And one more touch one more brush is for the catch light. Here, I'm adding exposure to it. You can see, and also like is some white spots here, so it makes the eye look more visible from when you look at it from far. I can also do it a little bit on the reflection, just a little bit, and I can also take a brush to reduce the color because I see like in the reflection the catch light is blue, so I'm taking it a little bit. I'm reducing the saturation from the eyes from the catch light. So now it looks better. I can also go with the brush and a little bit here on the chest, open some shadow. Yeah, now it looks better, as well as here. And last thing is radial gradient, which is working on the opposite way of the light. If the light is coming from the right up corner here, this way, so the backlight, the vignette, the darker part will be the opposite. Like from here in this part of the photo, I'm just reducing the exposure of this area. Might be here because of this black part. I will a little bit reduce here the vignette because it's already dark on the corner. So it's more important for me to make this area a little bit darkened. So I have it. This photo look quite good for me. Now I can also do some retouches with the colors to make them a little bit more up to my taste. I can reduce a little bit blue and uh, purple as well. Always remember that you are trying to make the photo look less colorful. Less colorful, it's more colorful. If you have in your photo like purple and blue and green and yellow and magenta, so your photo look like a festival and it's like very destructive to the eye. So always try to make your photo look like with two strong colors that leading the eye. Like in this photo, you can see it like a little bit blue tones and the others are orange tones. That's enough. Any adding of green or magenta or I don't know any other color to this photo will make it a big mess instead of something that the eye is very comfortable with see. So that's my three steps of editing. I will repeat just a quick summary. So what I did here is to, in the beginning, you can see that I didn't touch the basics. I just make two mask one of the dog, which I increase the clarity here and a little bit open the shadow. On the other mask, which is the invert mask of the background, I just reduce a little bit the exposure. I make some S curve to make the photo, to make the blacks more matte. And I just reduce a little bit clarity, not too much. Then I went to detail to clean the noise from the photo, the ISO. I add luminance and amount to fix the thing that the luminance. Once you added the luminance and you make it high, you can see that it makes the photo a little bit uh, blur and the details are gone. So less luminance and more sharpening to give the photo like uh, the sharpness again. I edit in Photoshop and then I get the photo in Photoshop. Here I moved remove unnecessary detail, like I add here some in this area I had blue reflection from some sign that was in this street. Then I select the dog. I reduce colors that are unnecessary from the dog with this tool with the hue saturation. Then I add radial gradient, and the last part is in the filter blur, Gaussian blur. I had like this dreamy blurry feel for the photo. I did I saved the photo, and here I just did the mastering, which is contrast, a little bit white. You can touch these faders as much as you can. Just try not to make everything too dramatic. Uh, a little bit more playing with the colors here, working on the eyes with the brushes, a little bit brush here of shadow, and just a little bit vignetting and darken the corners of the photo. This one and this one to make the photo, to make like kind of frame inside the frame of dark corners. And that's it. I hope it was clear enough. I hope that you learn enough. You learn everything that I uh, I hope you learn from my workflow. Feel free to ask me whatever you want. You can send me some questions. You can ask me uh, any other thing you want to know about lenses if you have some questions about how posing the model. Every question that jump in your mind, just feel free to send me. You can send me on Messenger, on Instagram, on email. And I hope I helped you with your photography for the next years to come. Keep in touch. Thank you very much. And have a great day, night, weekend, or whenever you're hearing this video. Bye bye.